Welcome to the Diversity Pivot Podcast. I'm your host, Julie Kratz, and this season we will be unpacking real trends, hot topics in the workplace around allyship and inclusion. Our goal is that each week you leave with tangible tools, information, practical strategies that you can take back to allies at your organization. Let's dig in to this week's topic. Welcome back, listeners. So excited to be with you. And I wanted to share an interview I did recently with the author of the Anti-Ableist Manifesto. And I just thought it was such an important read by Tiffany Yu. Tiffany and I spent some time together for my Forbes column to write 3 strategies to be an anti-ableist ally. And we're going to share some key ingredients of what I found out. So first of all, what is disability? It's the interaction between individuals with a health condition with personal and environmental factors, including negative attitudes, inaccessibility, and limited social support. And what I take away from that is really the world, the workplace, society is really built for folks without disabilities. And when we make them inclusive to work for folks with disabilities, we make them work better for everyone. And that's why Tiffany's work is so important, because she shares why being an anti-ableist ally is so critical. Because 1 in 4 adults have a disability, 70 to 80% of disabilities are non-apparent or seemingly non-visible, and 37% of folks with these non-apparent disabilities don't disclose them at work. They choose not to because of fear of discrimination and lack of support. And so, as you explains, if we live to the full extent of our lives, we'll all eventually become disabled at some point. Yet people fear becoming disabled in a society that wasn't designed and built with disability in mind. As she argues, we should all advocate for disability inclusion because we're all likely to live with it. And if our own self-serving reasons aren't enough, don't you want the workplace, the world to be more fair and equitable and accessible to all humans? What would that look like if everyone could fairly, equitably access and have their needs met? And that might seem like a lofty goal. However, it really starts with small changes. And so individually, if you want to be a better ally, anti-ableist, as Tiffany Yu says, and she argues, think about, when speaking with medical professionals, your medical problems are believed and taken seriously. You can buy children's books that, feature people like you. No one thinks the way your body or mind works need to be fixed or cured. If you have children, your ability to caregive is not questioned. Public safety information will be provided in a format that's accessible for you. These are all privileges, unseen advantages that folks that are not in the disabled community often have. Here's another challenge. So pay attention to those privileges. Think about what help looks like. So before assuming that we, as a hopeful anti-ableist ally, before we assume what help looks like for somebody with a disability, proactively ask if they even need help at all. And then what you says is really critical, is listen to their answer. And they happen to say yes, and ask specifically how you can help instead of assuming what that help might mean. You'd be shocked by the amount of examples where people just don't even ask and start pushing someone's wheelchair. They think they're getting something that the person's looking for, and it's not at all what they're looking for. And so just be mindful to ask, listen, and then provide the level of support that truly is needed and deemed by the individual. As you found in her research, there are disabled people that have able-bodied. If we want to be inclusive of everyone in the community, using non-disabled is more accurate. Non-disabled actually puts no value judgment on the identifier. And so just kind of shifting our language when we want to be a better anti-ableist ally. She also asks these questions. Ask yourself if a wheelchair user would be able to fully participate in an event you're hosting. Offer flexible options on how people choose to participate. If the space isn't accessible, just say it. Have a primary contact for accessibility needs. Standardize accessibility check-ins at meetings. Say my needs are, or my needs are being met. Visual descriptions are also really helpful. And so this just simply describes someone's appearance, pronouns, accessibility needs. It provides context. So for folks, obviously, that have low vision or are blind, might provide an opportunity for them to really name their access needs and for them to be able to fully participate if they have that alt text or that additional context orally as well. And despite the perceived progress of disability in the workplace, we really do need more allies. The ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, is still very new and not really the tip of the iceberg of what we need. We're really needing to change society's attitudes to reinforce that legislation. And so think about how individually, how systemically you could address allyship through the lens of anti-ableism. And think about some of the ideas that Tiffany Yu has, and I highly encourage you also to buy her book and learn more, because it really is a treasure trove of ideas that you as an ally or you as your organization could take action on right away. Thanks, allies. Be back next week with more.
Thank you for listening to the Diversity Pivot podcast. My hope is that you walked away with a tangible tool, insight, or information that you can share with other allies on the journey. If you liked this week's episode, please leave us a review. Your feedback means a tremendous amount to us. We'll be back next week with another hot topic.